Saco School Board Chair. I'm calling the meeting to order at 5 p.m. this Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. Please note we have all school board members in attendance with the exception of School Board Member Richards and School Board Member Truman. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, moving on to item 3, which is the retirement recognition. Superintendent Ray.
All right, we're lucky to have such a wonderful group of retirees this year that have spent so many years in the district. Trying to rope them back in already to not do this, but a couple of them have made up their mind. This is the pathway that they want to go. And so as a school community, we want to take a few minutes to call their principals forward and say a few words about each employee and everything they've given to our children and to the district, and honor them for, lifetimes of commitment to Saco schools, kids, families, etc. So I'd like to ask Ms. LeBlanc to please come forward first.
Good evening, everyone. Wendy LeBlanc, principal at Fairfield School, and tonight I have the honor and privilege to speak about Becky Marshall. And I'm going to try to breathe and not get too emotional. Becky is someone I truly love. She's a loved kindergarten teacher at Fairfield School. I've only had the privilege of knowing Becky for 3 years, but I feel like it's a lifetime because that's how she makes you feel. She makes you feel like you've known her forever. Becky's a teacher who brings joy, deep compassion into everything she does. In her final years of teaching, I looked up from my office one day to see her crouching through the hallway, dressed up in a trench coat, glasses, a mustache, and a magnifying glass as she was looking for 100. And she had all of her students following behind her in the same costumes, searching for the number 100. Another day I walked into her classroom and it was winter when the days felt really long, and all of her students were at the sink, and I thought, uh-oh, what's going on here? Oh, Mrs. Marshall just doing a literacy activity with shaving cream in her final year of retirement. She also does super readers, where every year she makes capes and costumes for students to excite them about reading, and it comes with a little mask, and she wears one too. And though these are things that we see, it's more than that for Mrs. Marshall. Her ability to support all learners, maintaining a structure and joy and care in her classroom is a gift. She models patience, kindness, and consistency. Her students feel seen, supported, and loved. Over the last few days, I've been just asking staff, when you think of Becky Marshall, what comes to mind? I think my favorite one was, well, she is Fairfield. She represents everything Fairfield does. Love, strength, power with each other, team. Here are some other things that people said. She's the sunshine in our building. She's my family at school. She puts things in perspective. She's who I go to. She's my rock. She had my children, which you've had a lot of our staff members' children. No matter what's going on in her life, you'd never know, because when she walks up to you, she makes you feel like the most important thing in that moment. She's calm, centered, dependable, hardworking, kind, accepting, inclusive, gentle, and loving. And those words were common from everybody I asked. She is going to be so missed. She's such a positive, wonderful, welcoming, accepting force in our school and the Fairfield community. As this is a huge loss for Fairfield, we're incredibly happy for Becky and her husband, who now can plan extravagant and well-deserved vacations And as she closes this chapter on her life, she leaves behind a legacy. And if you don't know Mrs. Marshall, then you should feel proud as a Saco community that we have an educator like her in our system. So I want to thank Becky from the bottom of my heart and everyone at Fairfield for the lessons that she's taught us, the ways she shaped our lives, and the grace that she gives us every single day. So congratulations. Words do not express how much you will be missed.
Good evening. I am April Noble. I'm the principal at C.K. Burns School, and I'm here to honor 2 retirees. Unfortunately, they are not here tonight, but they're not here tonight because they do not like to be the center of attention. That being said, I want to make them the center of attention for just a few minutes. Tonight, we're going to take a moment to celebrate someone whose dedication has touched countless lives, numbers we cannot count. Joan, a champion for our students with special needs. She has served for many, many years on our Ed Tech team. She has brought compassion, patience, and unwavering commitment to every student that she supports. She's quiet, she's strong, and she provides gentle guidance. And she's helped students not only learn, but she's built strong connections and helped them thrive. Joan, you've given families a peace of mind, you've supported teachers, and most importantly, you've helped students believe in themselves. Thank you. We're deeply grateful for the love and the light that you brought into our school. You've made a difference that will last a lifetime. The second retiree, Joan. The second retiree is someone that we need to honor who has impacted our entire district in an immeasurable way, Carrie Lamoth. After many years of extraordinary service as a classroom teacher, as an administrator, and most recently an incredible math coach, Carrie is closing this chapter, but her legacy will live on. Many of you know that when I arrived at Burns, she was serving as the interim building principal. Today, and for the past few weeks, and right into her days of retirement, she's entered into the role of a 5th grade teacher in a time of need. These are just a few ways Carrie has done whatever it takes and has always stepped up for our children. Her unwavering support for students, her fearless advocacy for what is right, and her belief in every child's potential has shaped our schools and touched many hearts. She brought not only expertise, but she brought joy, filling our days with laughter. Yes, she can make anyone laugh at the best moments. Filling our days with laughter, encouragement, and the kind of energy that makes learning feel like magic. Carrie, thank you for leading with courage, teaching with heart, and never losing sight of what matters most, our children. You leave behind footsteps that are going to guide us all for many years to come. She does not like attention in this way, as you can tell because she's not here this evening, even though she prides herself at being every other event we've ever planned for students in Saco. I want to take this time to personally thank one of the best all-around educators I've known and someone I consider a friend. We will miss you deeply, and we celebrate you with all our hearts. Carrie Lamoth.
Good evening, Marie Soucy, principal at Saco Middle School. Tonight I have the privilege to recognize 2 outstanding women who have been the cornerstone of Saco Middle School for over 2 decades. I'll start with Lisa Ronco, who is someone has led Saco Middle School's physical education program for the past 26 years and has made a lasting impact on our school community. Lisa has dedicated more than 2 decades teaching, encouraging, and challenging our students, always holding them to high standards because she believed in what they were capable of even when they didn't see it themselves. She brought energy to every class, compassion to every conversation, and a deep sense of pride in doing her job well. But her impact didn't stop at the gym doors. She's recently worked to help create the SMS Drone Club and turned it into a space where students could explore and discover new passions. Lisa was also never afraid to think outside the box, whether it was bringing in new programs or finding creative ways to engage students. She actively sought out grants to support fresh, exciting ideas like cross-country skiing and archery, opening up opportunities many of our students might not have otherwise experienced. Her determination to expand what was possible for our kids made our programs richer and more inclusive. And of course, there's Harley, the four-legged sidekick whose wagging tail and warm presence brightened even the toughest days for students and staff alike. Lisa, your kindness, commitment, and high expectations have made us better as educators, as students, and as people. While we'll miss seeing you and Harley around campus, your legacy will stick with us. Thank you for everything, and here's to a well-earned retirement filled with adventure, rest, and maybe a few drone flights. Congratulations. And now on to someone who also doesn't like to be the center of attention. That's why she's right in the back row. I'd like to talk about Joan Holmes, whose care and kindness have touched every corner of Saco Middle School. For the past 22 years, Joan has been more than our school nurse. She's been a steady hand, a compassionate ear, and an advocate for our students. Her work has always been student-centered. Whether it was a scraped knee, a sore throat, a tough day, or a broken heart, Joan was there with a Band-Aid, a kind word, or maybe even a snack that she purchased with her own money. She's a person who students turned to when they didn't know who else to talk to, and the one teachers sought out when we had our own mystery ailments or needed a little encouragement, comfort, or advice. She has a heart big enough to hold the entire school and a passion for helping others that's impossible to replace. Joan, thank you for your years of service, for always going the extra mile, and for reminding us all what it means to truly care. You've left a mark on this school that will last long after today. We wish you the happiest, healthiest, and well-deserved retirement, and we will miss you.
Amazing. It's so gifted that we have so many wonderful educators, but I wish you all a happy retirement. With that, we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we will reconvene for the next item on the agenda.
That is just some.
Okay, I'm going to bring us back from our break. We're going to move on to item 4, approval of school board meeting minutes dated May 14th, 2025. There is a memo in the packet that shows the meeting minutes. Any motion at all for approval of school board meeting minutes dated May 14th, 2025? School board member Warnoff.
I move we approve the school board meeting minutes, May 14, 2025.
All right, I have a motion on the table by school board member Warnoff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by school board member Kidder. Is there any discussion on the school board meeting minutes? Seeing no one seeking recognition, roll call vote. School board member Warnoff.
Yes.
I vote yes. School board member Roach.
Abstain.
Abstain. School board member Kidder.
Abstain.
And school board member Johnston.
I have to abstain because I was
Okay.
not here for that meeting.
All right. Motion passes 2 with 3 abstentions. Whew, okay. Moving on to item 5, adjustments to the agenda. There are none that I'm aware of this evening. Moving on to item 6, which is correspondence. I did not receive any information on correspondence. So moving on to item 7, which is public session. Please feel free to come before the school board and state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Good evening. My name is Anne Marie Ramsey. I live at 41 Tall Pines Drive, Saco, Maine. I would like to start out by thanking the Saco school administrators for their support day in and day out of supporting the secretaries, supporting the special ed programs and the ed techs, and looking out for the student needs and making sure needs are covered as best as they can with what we have with us. I'd like to thank the special education administration for working on job postings, for continuing to do community outreach, for open positions that we have in our school district. I also want to thank the special ed administration as well as the Coast and Paths program of the Saco schools for their amazing achievement of meeting their $1 million goal, which you'll be reviewing later, and that is awesome, so good job. I'd also like to thank the students for a great 2024-2025 school year. It's been great having them there, and they've benefited so much from having such a caring, educated, and dedicated staff around them from the moment they walk into the school and to the moment that they leave the school each day. I'm here to just advocate for stronger competitive wages for our educational technicians, 1, 2, and 3s, for the secretaries and administrator assistants. I would also like to advocate for stronger health benefits and options. Also, I'd like to lastly thank the school board for listening and for opening lines of communication. And communication, period. Is there any misinformation in this public comment or anything that we want to make sure I'm clarifying, speaking truly for? All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nick Fuller. I teach in Saco. Lucky teacher of 21 wonderful fourth graders. Thank you, all members of the board, for being here today, and I hope you get to enjoy some of the sunshine later. I'm here also speaking in strong support of our ed techs and secretaries, and really hoping that Saco can offer them some more competitive wages and more competitive, stronger healthcare options. I thought a useful way of again showing just how vital ed techs are to the day-to-day life of a regular classroom is just to tell a little story of the past 2 weeks since I was last here. One day I had the ed tech who's regularly in my classroom was unable to be there. And because the program is also short-staffed, there was a substitute who was wonderful, but was not a trained ed tech. And so when there was a behavioral issue that arose, it escalated, and this was during my reading block, and I had to cancel my whole reading block for my class. So 21 students, the reading lesson I had planned, had to be put on hold. Compared to literally the next day, when my regularly trained and scheduled ed tech was in the classroom, behavioral issue, professionally de-escalated, classroom door closed, situation safe. I was able to continue with my reading lesson in a way so smoothly that a lot of the students hardly even noticed what had happened. And that kind of work is what our ed techs do day in, day out, and they really enable me as a classroom teacher to be able to teach my other students. So our students really, really need experienced ed techs and trained ed techs. And in order to retain the ed techs we have that have so much experience and to hire strong new ones, we have to be providing them with more competitive wages and healthcare options that are going to want to make them stay here in Saco for our students. So I really hope we can do that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Tara Travis. I'm a resident of Saco, and my daughters both went through Saco schools, and I am also here tonight to speak on behalf of the educational technicians and secretaries. I am a special ed teacher. I've been teaching for over 30 years. No, you can't tell. But when I was a student at Bridgewater State College way back in the day, I was the proud president of the Future Teachers Association. Whether I was young and dumb or what, I'm not quite sure. But one night we had a speaker, and it was one of our professors who was also a teacher at the laboratory school attached to Bridgewater State. And he said to us, there are two people that are very important in your schools, the most important people. It's not the principal, it's not the superintendent, it's not even the school board. He said to us, it's your secretary and your janitor. And I remember very clearly thinking at the time, of course now in the 21st century, put the IT person on that list, but also the ed techs. Like I said, I'm a special ed teacher, so I know the value of well-trained, experienced, caring, thoughtful ed techs and what they do for students and for staff. I don't know what industry coined the phrase pay me now or pay more later, but I assure you, paying and valuing these people today will save not only the taxpayers of Saco in the future, but also the students. They're the ones who pay the most. That gentleman just spoke about his reading class. That didn't happen that day because his ed tech wasn't there. They are unsung heroes. They do things day in and day out, oftentimes well beyond what they are compensated for. I just can't thank you enough for listening tonight, and I really hope that they can come, that you can come together with them for a strong and supportive collective bargaining agreement. Thank you.
Hello.
Good evening. I'm Noah Koch. I live at 15 Olympia Ave in Old Orchard. I am one of the special educators at C.K. Burns School. At C.K. Burns, I lead the PATHS program, which is one of the 2 day treatment programs involved in Saco schools. This year, I'm fortunate to work with a dedicated team of 5 educational technician 3s who are additionally cross-trained as behavioral health professionals. Last year, I had 8 team members, and next year, I may have as many as 10. My program simply could not function without our ed techs. Each one provides individualized one-on-one support to our students who medically qualify for day treatment services. Without this support, many of these students would require out-of-district placement in a specialty purpose private school, which on average would cost a taxpayer in Saco close to $100,000 per student per school year. By contrast, at the highest pay tier, which is $27.50 per hour, a single ed tech will earn $34,842.50 annually, meaning roughly 3 ed techs cost less than 1 out-of-district placement. Despite their immense value, even the most experienced ed techs in my program are living at the edge of poverty. Every member of my team works a second job, and some hold a third. This isn't by choice, it's by necessity. The result for my team is staff who are overextended, fatigued, and constantly worried about making ends meet. The chronic strain makes it harder to be fully present for our students and increases the risk of burnout and injuries, a trend that has already deeply impacted school systems across the country. One unique program of our day treatment model in Saco is that some services are main care reimbursable. We hit our goal for $1 million this year, and for students who qualify, this district is reimbursed approximately $72 per hour for BHP services, which is enough to cover the hourly wage of 2.5 ed techs. While not all students qualify, excuse me, this revenue helps sustain special education programming and demonstrates the financial sensibility of investing in our support staff. I think, and I also urge the district leadership, school board, and our superintendent to respectfully complete contract negotiations with these providers that include a livable wage for our ed techs, secretaries, and other support staff. Their work is essential, not only for the success of our students, but also for the financial stability of our district. Without them, the cost to taxpayers could soar, and the quality of support that we're able to provide for our students, our most vulnerable learners, would significantly suffer. I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Emily Havlina, and I'm a teacher at CK Burns. I'm reading a letter that was written by a case manager from Saco Schools that wishes to stay anonymous. So, I'm writing to highlight the essential role that support staff play in our educational environment. As a case manager, I rely heavily on the expertise of our support staff to effectively program for my students. The loss of additional support staff would significantly affect our school and the services we provide. Their contributions to our school community are invaluable. Support staff are crucial behavioral supports to our most challenging and vulnerable students. They provide academic lessons and assist those who struggle to understand the material or focus on tasks. They often have some of the most demanding responsibilities, navigating multiple classrooms and working with a diverse range of students throughout the day. These individuals are a vital part of our school, particularly within our special education programs. Unfortunately, support staff frequently do not receive the recognition that they deserve. They face daily challenges, often enduring difficult behaviors such as hitting, kicking, biting, and verbal abuse. Despite these challenges, they return to work each day motivated by their dedication to our students and the important work that they do. Currently, our support staff does not receive adequate compensation for their essential roles within Saco schools. This situation could have a significant impact on our students' educational experience. It's imperative that we support our staff as they are essential in helping our most vulnerable students succeed. Thank you for considering these important issues. Anonymously, a case manager from Saco Schools.
Thank you very much. Hi, good evening. Kelly Morin, Dayton, Maine. I am an ed tech at CK Burns School, and I appreciate your time listening to me speak. I have had 6 years' experience serving in the Saco School District. I'm reaching out to express my concern on behalf of myself and my fellow ed techs, as we are currently working without a settled contract, which is now extended for over a year. The lack of a finalized contract has created significant uncertainty for us as we plan for our personal and professional futures. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight a few key issues that I believe need to be addressed. Affordable health insurance. The current health insurance options available to us are not attainable for my spouse or partner. As such, I respectfully request that the district consider making health insurance more affordable and inclusive by allowing ed techs the option to add spouses or partners. Many ed techs, including myself, work second jobs to support our families.
This unfortunately often conflicts with attending important district meetings, such as school board meetings, which are typically held during working hours. Childcare and family responsibilities. In an effort to avoid costly childcare, my husband and I work alternating shifts. This arrangement, while necessary, creates additional challenges and stresses, especially when it comes to attending district functions or meetings. As you are aware, ed techs play a crucial role in the success of many programs in the district, particularly those related to inclusion and unified sports. Our contributions extend beyond the classroom, including assisting in field trips, lunchroom supervision, and providing support during recess. Without the dedication and support of ed techs, many of these services would be difficult to sustain. Additionally, while the training provided to ed techs may not be equivalent to that of teachers, it is essential for ensuring the safety and well-being of students. I personally have had to intervene in situations where a student posed a danger to themselves or others, and the training I received allowed me to address the situation quickly and effectively, ensuring the safety of all involved. I believe, like that, all staff members within the district, ed techs deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, and professionalism that is essential to maintaining a positive and productive work environment. We take pride in our roles and are committed to providing the best care for our students. It is vital that we are given the resources, support, and recognition we continue to do so. Thank you for taking the time to consider my concerns, and I invite you all to come in and join me one day and see what we do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel Chandler, and I work at CK Burns. I'm very happy to be here in support of the ed techs and our secretaries. I have just enjoyed every day with my ed tech, and I wanted to fight for better wages and for better healthcare options for them. I am privileged to have my spouse and kids on mine, and I can't imagine having a job where I put so much of my heart and soul into that I know that they do without that as an option, and having to get second or third jobs to help support their families. With the ed tech in my room, just the work that she does, not only is she there for my student specifically, that she's got the one-on-one time, anytime she's able to, she also helps others around. She's de-escalated situations. She's also helped me get back on track if I'm learning curriculum and not quite right. She's a great collaborator, and I hope that y'all's open minds and hearts are listening to all of this. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Joe. I am just a Saco resident and homeowner, 33 Bradley Street. That's in Ward 7. I came here today to just urge you to support the fair and just contract for the Saco ed techs. I was really surprised to see that they had been working under without a signed contract for over a year. Even though, I mean, as you've heard today, they're vital to our schools and our students. They say it best, but the one-on-one support, working with students with significant behavioral and academic challenges, it just keeps the classroom on track, safe and effective learning environment. The starting pay, I hear, is $17.50 an hour, and it's not competitive with neighboring districts, which means it's there are positions being unfilled, some for the whole school year, and I've seen that looking for jobs. This means that critical positions are understaffed, and we're also losing experienced ed techs to other districts. I wanted to speak personally about the healthcare. You know, I know what it's like to have inconsistent healthcare coverage, and that's really distracting for your working environment. You know, and these are our students. This is our future. Our ed techs deserve a contract that truly reflects their critical role. Investing them then is a direct investment in our children and the strength of our schools. I implore you to take action and ensure they receive a fair contract, competitive wages, and adequate health care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Seeing that I don't see anybody else is seeking recognition to speak before the board, thank you for all of your comments. We will move on to item 8, the superintendent's report. Superintendent Ray?
So I do feel like just a couple of things that we should mention here, because I know a couple of people mentioned it. Just to clarify for you guys as a board, the ed techs do have a contract, and they signed a one-year extension last year in negotiations with Beth and I. And just for the public, there has been no formal offer or something received to the school committee advocating for family health insurance from the association. So I think we just have to have those facts out there. The health insurance piece hasn't changed. In 2021, when I came on board, people only got adult and child here. So just want to make sure those things are correct on those pieces. I think that's important for the public to understand that, because you guys did settle a contract with them last year. And have been doing a great job negotiating with them now. Lead negotiator Vicki Cronin's outstanding, and I think, Beth, you've been sitting there, I think we're moving in the right direction. So know that we are moving in the right direction.
May I just weigh in for a second? I just want to reiterate that I believe that everything that you just said is actually accurate information. And I do believe that we are working towards a new contract with all the best intentions, in good faith. Thank you.
100%. So want to highlight a couple of collaborations. C.K. Burns, UNE collaboration. C.K. Burns School recently completed a successful collaboration with UNA through a year-long initiative thanks to a grant from the Association of Teachers of Mathematics in Maine. 13 UNE pre-service teachers were paired with C.K. Burns educators as part of math methods courses, engaging in professional development, classroom instruction, and educational research. The partnership supports professional growth of future teachers, strengthens math instruction for students, and opens the door for UNE participation to return as student teachers. SMS had some really exciting things where they brought over 100 second graders from Fairfield and Young School. They visited Saco Middle School this month for Trail Talks, an outdoor learning experience led by more than 50 7th and 8th grade Sebago team students. The middle schoolers designed and taught interactive ecology lessons alongside SMS student-built nature trails. So very exciting that occurred. SMS Young School celebrates literacy collaboration. Saco Middle School recently partnered with Young School for a cross-grade level literacy event that brought kindergarten students to the SMS library to read with 8th grade buddies. The 6th graders spent weeks preparing for a visit, practicing read-aloud strategies, and selecting picture books that would engage the young partners. Oh, we have so much going on. MLTI conference. So 50 students from Saco Middle School recently attended the MLTI student conference at UMaine, joining nearly 1,000 students from across the state. Several SMS students led a drone technology session, showcasing the skills they've developed through the school's MLTI grant, which funded the purchase of 7 drones. Tonight you get to honor Lisa Ronco, who's part of that big initiative with our students. Some important dates: the PTO Family Night. CK Burns and young students are having their PTO Family Nights this Friday, May 30th, from 5:30 to 7:30, and from 5:30 to 8 p.m. School budget vote. School budget vote is June 10th from 7 to 8 p.m. Last day of school is the 12th. And so there's a lot going on in the last couple of weeks. I believe it's the 13th is our Aid for Saco Kids mini golf event. So if people are around to go and join that, that would be great. That's from 12 to 7 at Schooners. And so that's always a good fundraising event for our Aid for Saco Kids to help support students and families. Any questions?
School Board Member Roach.
Yeah, let's go back to the public comments on the negotiations with support staff and ed techs. I missed the last meeting, and first and foremost, my respect, I'll speak for myself, but I believe this board who has kids in the school system that have had ed tech IEP support, there is no daylight that this board supports our ed techs and staff to the nth degree. So I want to make that clear. And I'll speak personally. My wife is an ed tech. Dear friends are ed techs. Family are ed techs and support staff at schools. And to hear last week someone who's not an ed tech that knows better to come up to that microphone and say that she had to remind us as a board how important ed techs are defeats the purpose of why they're here to speak on behalf of them. Is totally counterintuitive to get a board member like myself, I won't speak for the rest of the board, and it just, negotiations that happened are to be kept in negotiations. And they're not even here, the leadership, whatever the leadership here, they're not even here to hear our discussion right now. Maybe they can see it on video. But we've had meetings with empty chairs all spring long during the budget. Empty chairs when we were discussing our need to recruit more ed techs, the rising health insurance costs, over and over again, and nothing. And to see that, I am very disappointed in the collaborative efforts that we have done all year throughout these last 2 or 3 years, my time on the board. I am just very disappointed in that. And so from here, I'll ask the superintendent a couple questions to just try to help this move along and clear up confusion and all that. This is for our attorney, Tom, right? He's the lead negotiator? Yeah. So it's been brought up about living wage. I certainly know that ed techs, are, just in general, just don't make enough to, I would say, of course, live in Saco and own a house by themselves, right? But can you just get for us what the definition of a living wage for this area is? And then on, this is maybe more for finance and the attorney, but kind of like if health insurance, now that we have the new cost of the health insurance policy, can we get very specific of what the costs are between, spouse and family and single?
Yeah, I can actually, that's pretty easy for us to do. When you look at health insurance, that is one of the biggest drivers in the budget, and quite frankly, whether it's school or whatever, there's almost like there's this health insurance crisis, because when you look at a situation where there are 4 plans available from Anthem, the main benefits trust. 2 of them added this year. Currently, an employee receives 85% as an ed tech or a secretary of a single or adult and child, 84% of adult and child. And what that comes out to is the fact that you're looking at a cost that is an employee cost, okay, of a monthly piece of an adult and child is $1,800 a month. And the employee pays $291 of that. That's, no one's claiming that's affordable for an employee. That's tough. On a single, even when you look at a single, you're looking at $154 a month for health insurance. And so when you look at some of the other plans that are out there, and I think that's what the hard part is that health insurance that we have in schools, we don't have health savings accounts like in a lot of other places. Or you don't have money that goes towards an deductible or some of those premiums, that there are some additional plans that are available to employees that are not part of our unit, offered by the benefit trust, with higher deductibles and lower out-of-pocket costs. And I think school departments and employees need to think about what that piece is. As I've reviewed some of them ourselves, you question, like, a full family health insurance policy at 100% for a Saco employee next year is $37,000, minus the 15%. We are at a health insurance crisis on affordability, and that's not, we're talking the whole package. And so I think it's difficult when you look at, whether it's $22, $25, $27 an hour. That's a very difficult math problem to put together and have affordable health insurance. And we have options to only those plans.
And just one quick follow-up. Similar to wages of neighbor, do we know how we compare currently, not just wages, but for health insurance to other communities?
Yeah, I mean, we have all of that data available that I can, certainly present to you guys at a board meeting of everyone. We talk about that during negotiations. We're not unlike a lot of districts that don't have a larger coverage plan for support staff. I know some of the districts that, for 13 years I've been the superintendent in Biddeford, and it's a single only ever since I've been there. And so we can run all of those comparisons. We've got that, for negotiations that we put out there so that everyone can see those things. I think over the last couple of years, we've talked about how the wage structure here in Saco for new employees is way too low. We've made offers, we've done those pieces. We have to raise those wages for starting salary positions. And I think that's what Beth and I and Sarah, as representatives with our attorneys, are trying to do.
Well, I mean, I just want to make it clear, I know people aren't here now, but we as a board publicly discuss, privately to you, everything, the shortage of support staff and ed techs here. I mean, we're doing everything possible to do that. It's not the opposite. We're not trying to scare away ed techs to other communities. We hope part of it is Saco is a place where people want to be at anyway. A nice place to live and everything. But we've been trying our darndest, to do that, and we hope to get it through in negotiations. But any implication that no, we're content, is just not accurate. I mean, we are not content. This is almost like every time we meet, this almost comes up. So, okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Superintendent Ray on the superintendent's report? All right, seeing no one seeking recognition, on to item 9, which is Chair's report. I don't have anything new to report this evening. On to item 10, which is staff reports. There are none listed. Item 11, Board Subcommittee meeting minutes. Item A, Policy and Personnel Committee. The next meeting is June 11th at 5:30 p.m. Item B, Finance and Infrastructure Committee. Committee meeting is May 28th at 4:30 p.m. And our item C, Curriculum Committee, next meeting is 6/23 at 4:30 p.m. Any questions on the Board Subcommittee meeting minutes? School Board Member Roach.
We were just joking that.
Did it
that was,
change?
Well, that's today. But
That is
we had to
today.
retain-
We had other things happening. Yeah.
Right, so is that okay? I mean, do we have to reschedule or?
Yeah, we'll pick it up at the next meeting.
Okay, that will be rescheduled. Item B, which is Finance and Infrastructure, will be rescheduled. Any other questions, concerns on those items? Moving on to item 12, Old Business, there is none. Sliding right into item 13, New Business. Item A, New Hires. There is a memo in your packet for review. Do I have a motion? School Board Member Johnston.
Thank you. I move we approve the nomination of William Temple, art teacher at Fairfield and Young School, and issue a contract for the 25-26 school year.
I have a motion on the table for School Board Member Johnston. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by School Board Member Kidder. And any discussion on the motion? Seeing that there's no discussion on the motion, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff.
Yes?
I vote yes. School Board Member Roach.
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder.
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. All right. Moving on to item, bear with me 1 second, I apologize. Oh, item B, resignations, there it is. Do I have a motion? School Board Member Johnston.
Thank you. I move we accept the resignation of Kelly Frey, special education teacher at Saco Middle School, and Michael Edgar, assistant principal at Saco Middle School, effective at the end of the 25-26 school year.
I have a motion by School Board Member Johnston. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by School Board Member Kidder. Any discussion on the motion? All right, roll call vote. School Board Member Warnoff.
Yes?
I vote yes. School Board Member Roach.
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder.
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to item C, partnership with USM. Assistant Superintendent Parkhurst, hello.
Thank you. I would like to invite our Special Services Director, Dr. Jessica Clark, and USM Representative, Dr. Walter Kimball, to talk a little bit about a really exciting program. I'll just add that since the writing of this memo, Jessica was able to facilitate today 2 separate meetings with, I think, a total of over 30 staff members as mentors or mentees interested in this program. So I'm really excited about what they have to offer, and they'll just tell you a little bit about the program and answer any questions you have.
All right.
This is Dr. Kimball. He's going to tell you all the great stuff. I'm just here as the Saco person. Go ahead.
Great.
All right.
My name's Walter Kimball. I'm on the faculty at the University of Southern Maine in the Special Education Department. I've been at USM for 37 years. I worked in Saco, at Burns, the middle school, several other schools with student teachers, other folks preparing to be teachers. So it's been a pleasure to work in Saco. I've enjoyed it a lot. I'm here to speak about an opportunity for workforce development. It's the Registered Teacher Apprenticeship Program that was founded by the Department of Labor in Washington. It's a fully vetted preparation workforce development program. There have been apprenticeships forever in trades, carpentry, electricity. Teaching joined apprenticeship as an occupation in 2022 in the state of Tennessee. Since that time, there are close to 40 states that have adopted teacher apprenticeship programs. Teacher apprenticeship is a pathway to full teacher certification for employees of school districts. So for Saco, that would mean that it's a pathway to full professional teacher certification for your instructional support staff. Apprenticeship is based on 3 questions. First question is, do you have instructional support staff in Saco that would like to be teachers? Second question is, for you and the administration, are there folks that are working with the Saco students now as instructional support staff who you think would make great teachers? And then question 3 is, can we provide a pathway to teacher certification for those individuals while they're fully employed by the Saco School Department? Registered Teacher Apprenticeship is a way to do just that. I'm here representing USM, but I'm also here representing the Maine Department of Labor. The University of Southern Maine has an apprenticeship sponsorship program. So I'm the coordinator of that program. So I'm both representing the Department of Labor and I'm representing the University of Southern Maine. There's a memo in your packet. I won't repeat it. I think I'm here just for like an overview or to answer questions or just kind of get things started. We had a great meeting. Member Johnston was at the meeting. Good to meet Beth. And we had our first meeting. I thought it was successful meeting to see what can happen in Saco. I was invited to come here to put a face with a program, which is always a good idea. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I think we're going to proceed with, if we can make it work, a launch date of September of 2025. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a quick question. When you say you have mentors, do you do like a train the trainer type instruction?
Yes. So Saco already has a mentor system for new teachers, for support staff. It's not exactly like that, but it kind of is the same in concept. You have an individual that gains skills, gains knowledge by working with an experienced educator in Saco. It's that same connection. The reason it's different is because the mentor for the apprentice is also working for development, but also working on evaluating the competencies that are needed for teaching. So it really is a dual role. Some people think there's a conflict between those roles. I think you can make a philosophical argument for that. But we've not had an issue. We've not had an issue with that dual role. It really is an important role for the mentor and for the staff. We're currently working in Old Town, Gorham, SAD 6, Hiram, SAD 55. We're working in multiple districts across the state. And what we're finding is that for the mentoring of the teacher apprentice, it does make a difference that the mentor is working with a colleague. So not a student teacher, not a paid intern, not a guest in the school, to help them become a teacher, but actually working with a colleague who was on the staff of that particular school.
Another question. Are you finding in the other communities that you're working in that the ed techs are coming forward wanting to do this? What's
Yes.
the adoption rate, I guess?
Yeah, Old Town had an information session. Right now, we're starting with special education. Apprenticeship isn't limited to special education, but we're starting with special education. We don't want to do too much too fast. And in Old Town, they had an information session. And this was across certification, elementary ed, secondary ed. They had 35 people at the information session, and I've already talked with 8 of those individuals about special education teaching.
Thank you.
All right. School Board Member Kidder?
So obviously, we've had quite a bit of discourse over the past couple meetings about the lack of support staff in general. How does that look for their schedules? Like, say they're somebody who typically is one-on-one with one student, and then they are part of this apprentice program. How does that look for their day-to-day?
So that's an excellent question. Special education grouping, special education instructional scheduling, it's everything you can imagine. It's individual, it's small group, it might be in a special education classroom, it might be in the 4th grade classroom. It really is all over the place. So we really try hard to provide that array of experiences. To be more specific, it is very difficult to go through the apprenticeship when you're a one-on-one ed tech assigned to one student. That's your entire job. That's what you do each day. It's very difficult to do that. We've had instances where we have had one-on-one ed tech employees, and we've been able to work into that some group teaching, small group teaching. We've been able to kind of figure that out, but strictly as one-on-one, you follow the student, that's all you do for your job. That really doesn't work for the apprenticeship.
School Board Member Johnston?
Thank you. I want to just say that I was very enthusiastic attending the meeting a week plus ago to hear about this program. And one of the things that I find very exciting about it is that it's open to so many individuals who want eventually to become teachers in this capacity. And also, I think it's really exciting. The mentoring, the way you've explained the mentoring, I feel like that is such a cooperative and personal communication between the mentor and the mentee, I think that's right, that I think it would be really encouraging those who want to get that certification to not feel discouraged about the process. So I'm just going to say that I really do support this idea, and I hope and I think the fact that it's really open to so many people who might decide that they want to do it, that we will get good responses. And I guess we'll hear more about that when Jessica gets up to the microphone, because some new things have happened today. It's exciting. Thank you.
So we call those entry points. Excellent comment. We call those entry points, and we can actually start the apprenticeship. So there is actually a program called pre-apprenticeship. So if Saco's interested, we could actually be working at Thornton Academy with high school students who would aspire to be a teacher. That wouldn't be full apprenticeship, that would be pre-apprenticeship, but it would be an apprenticeship-like, giving them experience. We can work with folks who are just starting their undergraduate degree. We can work with folks who are almost done their undergraduate degree. We can work with folks who have finished their undergraduate degree and have a bachelor's already. We can work with any of those folks in the apprenticeship and figure out where they would start.
All right. School Board Member Roach?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that at the end, because you started this speech on workforce development, and like personally, it's a big thing. I feel like in high schools, the 5th block should be just going to, you know, it may not be their career yet, but just get out there and be there. So we don't cover Thornton Academy from the board here, but just speaking for high schools in general, are you working currently with high schools to get kids interested into education? So that first, say, ed tech, to then undergrad to go to USM, and then into, are you currently doing that now?
We launch our first pre-apprenticeship with the Gorham School Department fall of 2025.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know Superintendent Heather Perry will talk to anyone about what she's doing. So she would be very happy, I know, to speak with any administrator, any school board member. The planning's almost done, so we're ready to launch. We're ready to launch next fall. The pre-apprenticeship we're launching in Gorham includes early college. So it includes credit. It includes early college credit for students who are interested in being teachers. So the Gorham High School seniors, maybe a junior or two, will earn beginning undergraduate college, will take courses taught by a Gorham School Department faculty member for the first credits of their undergraduate career.
Well, I know Thornton's competitive with Gorham, so I'm going to tell him this and make sure.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, yep.
I'll just answer a few of the questions. Melissa Kamiri from TA was at our original meeting, so she's aware of the information, so it might be something we pursue. After the meetings today, we have 2 candidates that are interested in starting, and we have multiple mentors that have shown or expressed interest for the fall, but we have 2 candidates ready to go for the fall. And after today, I had 7 more interested. So I think it's just a matter of time, but we definitely have the interest in mentor capacity, so we're really excited.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Moving on to item D, main care update. Superintendent Ray?
Okay, as you can see from the memo in your packet, it was a long goal established a while ago that we would get to the point of $1 million worth of main care billing. And Jess and her team and everybody there has worked really hard on that goal. And I suspect that probably since we wrote this memo, we're like there. I know that the other day I got a text and it's like $997. And so we're probably there at this point, but you know, we only had budgeted about $400,000 in revenue, so we'll be pretty revenue high this year. But it's just excellent work that, you know, took a long time coming, but we got to the point, and just need to honor the success and recognize the success that the department's had getting to that point.
Any questions for Superintendent Ray on main care update? All right, no questions. Moving on to item E, building update, site viewing and open house. Super exciting, Superintendent Ray.
Yeah, so one of the things we talked about was getting an opportunity for people to come and join us on the site, and that date is June 3rd from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. All the trees have been removed. We're really hopeful that there is going to be some stakes in the ground that people will be able to walk around on site and be able to say, okay, I'm looking at the picture of where the front door would be. One of the things I need to remind people, because this is open, is that parking is very limited and the access is along Route 1. So if you are interested in joining us, we are trying to work on some transportation options to the site so we can shuttle some people because there won't be enough room for cars. And I think that's been a little bit difficult for us, but we'll probably talk to a couple of other options that may be available for us to get people out there, because it's really exciting to kind of go out through the road and be like, okay, this is where it's going to be now. It's a big milestone, and let's hope that we don't have a ton of rain over the next couple of days, because it is pretty soft out there. So if you do come dressed to walk through the woods, have some boots on, and hopefully get an idea of where the new school will be in about 3 years.
Any questions for Superintendent Ray? School Board Member Roach?
Yeah, Jeremy, you said that all the trees are now cut down. In terms of access, it's a little bit tight and a little bit dangerous to pull over on Route 1. If we cut the trees down, was there any rule that we couldn't just thrash the grass and the prickly bushes to get in from Millbrook? Because
Yeah, well, I think we had a pretty tight plan that we had to follow in that first piece because not all of the permitting was done for some of the wetland aspect. And then the other piece about, because we had that conversation about like thrashing it down, we're hoping that people won't walk through the tall grass just because of the amount of ticks that are around this time of year. We'll have tick spray available and on site, but we also just have to be careful about people's safety and walking, and that's, it's pretty, it's a good road walking the other direction for right now. And so, again, we hope to have some opportunities where we can have some off-site parking for people. We've got a couple more possibilities that we're going to reach out to later this week, and then we can announce.
And just not for like the site walk, but in terms of construction, to hopefully the energy tax credits hold, is there something to do beyond cutting the trees to make sure we would qualify within the federal fiscal year? And if so, what would that be? What would we do?
So that seems very up in the air right now.
Yeah.
I know that the package in the big beautiful bill talks about 60 days of starting within passage of that. We're trying to understand what starting means, because I would say clearing the land is the start before you can do anything else. But we're working with a consultant to try to figure out exactly what start means.
Yeah, because if the House language stays as is, which is, I think, unlikely, but if it does stay as is, the worst case scenario is that 60 days.
Correct.
So we could still get it,
Correct.
qualify, yeah, okay.
I think we'd be very aggressive at that point.
Yeah.
School Board Member Kidder?
Just a question about the timing of it. Is there any talk about doing another one maybe on a weekend or outside of typical working hours, just so there might be a little bit more of a crowd?
Yes and maybe. I think we wanted to see this first because we're a little bit worried about the crowd piece, just because we don't have much parking. Certainly once there is groundbreaking, which will hopefully, knock on wood, be this fall, there'll be a lot more option to do that. But we can see and get some feedback and see what's next. We just had kind of promised that we'd do something before the end of the school year, and then we just got washed out all last month. And it's still probably going to be pretty yucky in there as we go. And so, but yeah, I mean, I think our goal is to have something for the public in the future, see how this one goes, see how we would deal with parking, and see what would be the next steps.
Thank you.
School Board Member Johnston?
Okay, so this is pretty exciting. I'm still trying to catch up with a couple of details, though. So, Mr. Superintendent, is this something that the public is being invited to at this point in time, or not yet?
Yeah, anybody can join us. Our real hope was to get staff out there.
Yeah, okay.
So that they can start to envision what it would look like. The public is welcome to attend. We were hoping to have parking details by this date, but again, we'd need to pivot a little bit and trying to look at what would be access for, because as you know, that parking lot probably will hold like 20 cars max. And certainly people could park along the roadway, maybe on Millbrook, and walk over. But that's just tough. It's tough. There's not much sidewalk over there. And
Again, I qualify this, I am a business neighbor to where this is. And there is, if you parked on Millbrook but did not go into the area from Millbrook, there is no sidewalk on Route 1.
Yeah.
It is like, that's treacherous. I'd rather get a tick than risk that walk, so. But, yeah. Although I will say, if you do decide to do that or not drive, we got the lovely Eastern Trail that lets off at Millbrook. So if you'd like to take from, say, TA after school and take a nice bike ride, get off at the Millbrook entrance there, and yeah. Well, by the way, this is not any self-promotion, but there's a 5K down there this Saturday. So if you're not doing anything else, not that I've signed up, but that would be a good also view of how everything is close right there. The school is right, the land is right close to the Eastern Trail, of course. So thanks.
All right. Any other questions for Superintendent Ray? Okay. Moving on to item F, budget validation community letter. Superintendent Ray?
So I just wanted to preview a letter that I would be sending out to the media and the public about some of the work that we've done on the budget process, where we stand, the impact, and that you'll have an opportunity on June 10th to vote on the budget, and we appreciate everyone coming out. I know that we probably won't have the same turnout that we had last year when we were voting on a school, but it would be great if 4,000 residents came out for a budget validation vote, which typically doesn't happen. But this is just more informational for you guys and for the public.
All right. Any questions for Superintendent Ray on budget validation community letter? All right. Moving on to item G, legislative update. Superintendent Ray.
So there's a number of bills that we've been following that we just wanted to make sure people understood, and that these are the ones that we are watching around student transfers, overtime pay, deferred legislation. There was kind of a big vote where they wrapped all of the funding bills that we had been working on into LD 318. Which will be about funding formula and a comprehensive review. So all of those pieces will go together, and they've asked for a formal recommendation for changes to the EPS formula, which is a pretty big deal to get that going. So just a bunch of the bills that we're watching and trying to pay attention to, and wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay. Any questions for Superintendent Ray on legislative updates? School Board Member Johnston?
I don't have a question right now, but I just want to say thank you, Superintendent Ray, for staying so attuned to what is going on with in Augusta with the legislature and the bills that are being put forward, because I think it's, one, amazingly important, and two, you're obviously very involved in it. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Beth, but I would also just, it's important to recognize that Meg is also extremely involved in the legislative committee as a member of the MSSA legislative committee, and does a ton of work, meeting every single week with other superintendents from around the state, and really going through all of these bills. So I think we've learned as an administrative team that not only is it important to pay attention to the language, but also advocate and let our voice be heard. So thank you very much, but want to make sure that Meg was recognized as well.
And I definitely want to give Meg the credit where it's due to her. But I just wanted to say in general that I appreciate both of your involvements with this, because it's so important. It has such an effect on what we do in education, and sometimes I feel like nobody is paying attention. You guys are great. Thank you.
School Board Member Roach?
I'll just reiterate the thank you for both of you and administration for staying close to these bills. Two of these bills kind of address what was discussed earlier in public comment, and I know you guys have been on the front lines trying to push the state calculation to more include special education needs of a community, which would help, again, fund that support. And then also, the transferring of students and making sure that services are provided for, our citizens who live here, and making sure that, you have the best discretion to make sure we take care of our kids. So, so thank you for giving us updates on these bills, because it's a direct correlation to what we can support and afford and grow our health of our schools. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Moving on to item 14, other information. I did not see any brought to my attention. So moving on to item 15, executive session. There was none this evening. So we can move on to item 16, which is adjournment. Is there a motion? School Board Member Johnston?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
School Board Member Kidder. All right. I have a motion by School Board Member Johnston with a second by School Board Member Kidder. I'm going to assume no discussion on adjournment. So we can move on to roll call votes. School Board Member Warnoff?
Yes?
I vote yes. School Board Member Roach?
Yes.
School Board Member Kidder?
Yes.
And School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 to adjourn at 6:26 p.m. Thank you and have a great evening.